Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone that can hear the sound of my voice, to this week's edition of the Petty and Ill-Informed podcast. It's been years, and I'll still do that. Joining me, as always, is no one, apparently. Nicky's in Washington, Kevin's in Ireland, Tom's swears to me he's on his way, but he's not here. So we'll just soldier on in the same week where we saw Nish almost die. It's been a good week for EastEnders, let me tell you. Nish is on his deathbed. I am totally psyched for that. Let me tell you. It's about time that miserable fuck kicked the bucket. We're also... No. Hello, Tom.
Sorry I'm late, but hey, better late than never, I guess.
Title of your sex tape?
If you say so. How you doing, Richard?
Not bad, how are you?
Yeah, doing fine. Had a lovely day out today, as you know, mate. I went to took the boys to Thorpe Park. Yeah, and that was really cool. We went on several rides, including one twice. We went on Hyperia, the highest roller coaster in Europe, apparently, and it felt every bit that. It was really quite frightening because it didn't even have the usual harness thing that drops down over your shoulders. It didn't have that. It was this massive great thing that sits on your lap and pins you down, so you can't possibly stand up, and that keeps you in, and they're confident enough in that to send you upside down repeatedly at huge speeds. And it's the only time I've ever actually been remotely worried that I could fall out of a roller coaster. I'm sure it couldn't. I'm sure if I, had to scramble out of there to save my life, I couldn't. But nonetheless, it was still felt pretty hairy. But it was great. We had a really good day.
Well, if you did fall out and somehow survived, you'd have a nice lawsuit on your hands.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be in much of a state to be able to press charges. The height at which you'd be most likely to fall out on this bloody thing, it was huge. But
your family would sue then.
Oh yeah, well. Well, I think despite what you might think, I think my family would prefer to have me alive and in one piece rather than any money they might get for my sorry behind.
I'm trying to reject nihilism in face of hope and optimism here, okay? Yes, obviously you could die on a roller coaster, but if you did die, your family would be rich.
If you... Okay, next time I'm up on one, I'll try and fall out then. I'll try and make it happen for you.
I don't want you to die, Tom. I'm just saying silver lining. Every cloud and all that.
Yeah, I know. So that was quite a win today. Oh, there was one. I'll be honest. There was one shit your pants moment for all the wrong reasons. After that ride, I'll be honest. I lost track of our son Reese for about 1 minute because Dan, his brother, and I were looking. There was three of us there, me and my two kids. Dan, who's 14, and Reese, who's 12. And Reese, they're both autistic. Reese is profoundly so and non-verbal. And we were just looking at the pictures coming through because we were all in one shot and mulling over actually buying one. Thankfully, we didn't. The price was daylight robbery. But after that discussion, we turned around 10 seconds, but 10 seconds too long. Reese had legged it, and we ran out of there. Thankfully, Dan managed to spot him walking at some pace away from us. I think he thought he'd fallen behind and he was running in some random direction to catch up. But my word, that was a pretty hairy minute. And I did a fair bit of soul searching after that, as you might. And you just think, bloody hell. So, I mean, worst case scenario is he was sort of lost in the park, not running out into a road or anything. But nonetheless, it's still really alarming that, because he's never done that before. He's never. It must be that just in the crowd of people he lost track of us, and or just, I don't know, just maybe a lot of people walked past behind us on something, and he thought we'd gone off. I don't know, but it happened so quick, and it really was frightening, and it made I've always got to be so hyper alert and hyper aware whenever I'm out and about with him. I mean, he's a lovely lad. He doesn't mean it. He just I can't tell him he was not naughty for running off or anything. That just wouldn't work. But so the responsibility is on the adult, me, sadly. I was honest with my wife. I explained it to her, and she just said, "You've just always got to remember, just because he's never done something before doesn't mean he won't ever do it for the first time." And that can apply to any context. So, yeah, that was a bit of a frightening one. But apart from that, but lesson learned. I just got to be at my highest level of concentration with Reese. So lesson learned, and all is well. Thankfully.
What's the lesson to be learned?
What's the lesson to be learned?
Just
you can't afford to take your eye off Reese for a moment. That's it. It really is.
I lost Madison for 5 minutes in a shoe store once. It was the scariest 5 minutes of my life.
Who was that?
Kid from my first marriage.
Right. I see. So yeah, it is bloody frightening, as you well know. I mean, we're not the first. Neither of us are the first parents to do this, and we won't be the last either. Yeah, blimey. Oh well. You live and learn, as they say. In other news, this it proved an awful lot easier to be able to get Iron Maiden tickets than it did either Oasis or Coldplay. Now, thankfully for me, I like
I'm so
Iron
over
Maiden
this Oasis stuff.
Oh god, I talked about this on the show a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I know, but I'm so over it. It's everywhere, and I'm like, okay, their songs are really good. Okay, I still listen to their albums to this day. I like Oasis, I do, but it's not like there was a second coming or anything. I don't need to have this. It was the same when the Spice Girls reunited for their We're Skint tour.
Not that reeks of profiteering or anything.
It was obviously profiteering, Tom. They were obviously broke. I mean, I don't even know what 3 of them are doing. Last time I saw one of the Spice Girls, they were on The Voice being a guest judge, and I didn't recognise her.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, it's at least they were honest about it.
Well, no, they weren't. They were just like, we're doing this for the fans. Then why isn't Posh Spice there? That's right, because she married David Beckham and she's loaded, and she doesn't need to do it.
Oh, so she didn't turn up?
No.
Oh, well.
Sorry, those of us that grew up in the 90s, you either loved the Spice Girls or you hated them, and I hated them.
I was just very indifferent. I wasn't my type of music at all. I was just I had no real opinion on them either way. There was some around that sort of time, maybe a few years later, a handful of pop songs emerged that I rather liked. There was obviously White Flag by Dido, as made famous by Eminem with Stan. Sweet Dreams by LAX by Rachel Stevens. I didn't mind. I'm prepared to admit I have a CD in my collection of Sound from the Underground, The Best of Girls Aloud. I mean, they're about as overground as you can get, but nonetheless, it was a handful of their songs I don't mind at all. There's about 3 or 4 I can really get down to.
I maintain that every band on earth is capable of making one tolerable song, except for Nickelback, obviously.
Nickelback they made 3 songs of note that I can remember. There was, of course, I say of note, they were the ones that could be considered hits. There was, of course, How You Remind Me. Then there was that, How the hell did we wind up like this? Why were we able? Or something like that. And then there was that Rockstar. I saw them. I don't know quite how and why, but a handful of us ended up going to a Nickelback gig, and it was the worst gig I've ever been to. It was terrible. They were very dull. didn't play with any real life or energy. It was massive. It was Wembley Stadium. The funny thing was that everybody knew that 3/4 of the people there were there to hear them play this song, Rockstar. And so they delayed it in the set as long as they could by making it the first song of the encore. I didn't feel very well. I had a lousy cold, and I was I had a lousy cold, and I was full of snot, just sitting there full of bogies. And Hannah and our friend Scott were sat there in the seats in Wembley Arena. It was Wembley Arena, watching this thing, and they played this song, first song of the encore, and after that, us and 3/4 of the people there just got up and turned around and walked away, leaving them with this dwindling pool of hardcore fans that wanted to see everything. But they were just so boring. They had these guys, these lads running around the stage with these glitter guns, and it was very, very tame and really uninspiring and a huge waste of money. But Iron Maiden won't be. I've seen Iron Maiden live 4 times. I really enjoyed it every time. I generally prefer to go when they're touring for an album rather than when they're just touring generally, because that way you get some of their recent stuff. And a couple of albums ago, about 2016, they released an album called The Book of Souls, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was, for me, it was right up there with their classic stuff. I thought it was a masterstroke, and I'm really glad I saw them on that tour. They played 4 or 5 songs from their album. Bloody loved it. And yeah, and well as loads of old classics as well. And this tour is from their first 9 albums. So I won't be expecting anything recent. I won't be disappointed when they don't play anything recent, because it's not on the bill. I've got 2 tickets. I'm taking our son Dan to his first ever concert, his first metal gig. And this is at what was the Olympic Stadium, and is West Ham's home ground. So yeah, that's a bit of a curiosity. But I think it's going to be really, really fun. Yeah, West Ham Football Club.
Oh, soccer team. Gotcha.
Yeah, them. Premier League team. Yeah, so yeah, looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
I don't pay much attention to the Premier League. I know Arsenal's a team.
I was watching Match of the Day just before I tuned in, actually. Yeah. I was glad they were on first, or else I would have been in a difficult dilemma. Ooh, do I do the podcast or do I watch Arsenal? Most weeks the podcast wins out, which is why I'm here.
Well, I'm glad that we rate slightly higher than Arsenal.
Well, yeah, yeah, you certainly do. So, I think I had one really, really nice thing happen this week. Stupidly nice. I think I've said that the year has got off to a good start, and very happy with the team, very happy with the people. One of them wrote me the loveliest text message, just saying, how much they're enjoying working with me and the other members of the team, and it's because there's 4 of us in our class of 10 special needs kids, and it's really, really working out well, and it's such a pleasure to be able to, say it's working out well, and have people I'm working with saying the same back. That's what was so nice about it. So it's like, yay, it's not just me. Game on. We are chill, and hopefully we can find a way to stay this way. Yeah.
It's always nice to have a good working environment and to get along with your colleagues.
Amen to that. Absolutely.
Especially after, the incident.
Yeah, exactly. So, quite right, Richard. Quite right. And it's very reassuring. Yeah. So, we'll deliberately leave that one very cryptic. Thank you for your diplomacy, Richard, sir.
I like leaving things cryptic. It adds an air of mystery to the podcast.
Yeah, it does. I've just got to wait for Gabby to dive into my inbox going, what's going on? Well, nothing. No big deal. All is well.
Well, Gabby, there's your assignment for the night.
Yeah. So, Anything much to talk about tonight? What's going on?
Yes, I would like for you to go back in time in a flashback to me, with me,
Yeah,
to the year 1999.
sure.
Like, and it's an inside joke with my brother that whenever you do a flashback, you have to be wearing a 70s tie-dye shirt and have an afro.
Okay.
Don't know where it came from, but, whenever we do a flashback, that's what happens. So imagine me in a 70s tie-dye shirt with an afro. The year is 1999. A lot of people are freaking out about Y2K.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
There were genuinely people that thought the world was going to end in the year 2000.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, sure.
It was a year of various notes. The final year of the millennium, of the century, of the millennium.
Yep.
We were moving, to the 21st century. It was
Uh-huh.
going to be a cool time. But for me, it was significant because it was the release of my favorite game ever.
Well, video game.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's play a guessing game. What format was it on?
PC.
Oh. Okay. Hang on. Half-Life?
Ooh, no. Close.
Okay.
It was an RPG.
Wasn't one
Half-Life
of
was a good
wasn't
guess.
a Final Fantasy game, was it?
No. I like some Final Fantasy games, but I wouldn't class any of them as my favourite game ever.
Okay.
I'll give you a big hint.
Go on.
While everyone else was working with pixels, these game developers tried voxels.
I'm not big enough on my gaming. I can't even promise I'll have heard of it.
I guarantee you haven't heard of it because, as it turned out, it was me and 10 other people that played this game.
Okay.
All right, so it was called Outcast.
Okay.
The storyline was pretty, pretty basic for a sci-fi RPG. Basically, a stupid scientist had accidentally destroyed the world by creating a string tunneling device that was going to go to a parallel universe that caused an explosion, and now you have to travel to that parallel universe or other dimension or whatever and repair it on that end.
Right.
So you get transported to the world of Adelpha, which has 5 regions. It's inhabited by a race called the Talon, and it's just it's a fun game. I really liked it. I don't know what it was about it that hooked my autism, but something about that game clicked with me.
Yeah.
And I loved that game. And so you go around the regions, you collect backup computer cards to fix the probe, to fix the hole, and save Earth. And then you find out that one of the scientists, the same scientist that built the thing, has come to the universe and has taken over the Talon and is using their spirituality to manipulate them. And so you have to stop him. It's this whole thing. Anyway, obviously you do it. The game ends. That's it. Okay. Now, as I said before, it wasn't very popular. Never expected that anybody else, would really care. But about 6 years ago, they did a remaster of it and released it on Steam.
Right.
Outcast Second Contact. And it's exactly the same. It's what I want from a remaster. I don't want the shit they did with Final Fantasy VII in a remaster. I just want the same game with better graphics. That's it. That's all you have to do. And I'm happy. And that's what they did with Second Contact. It is exactly the same game, including some of the beloved bugs. It's just got a fresh coat of paint.
Surely most people would want to see the bugs fixed, or are they adorable bugs?
No, it's just funny that they did a whole remaster of the game and still couldn't be fucked to fix the a couple of the bugs, like getting stuck on the Sienna lighthouse or Shamaz Zeb not being able to reach Ilot.
Okay.
Just classic bugs. But this
Okay.
remaster did slightly better. So last year they finally released. It might have been this year or last year. They released a sequel, and I finally got to try it.
Okay.
Now, as I said, in the first game, you had to find the 5 Mons and defeat the evil bold scientist guy. Those are the objectives. In the second game, you have to find 7 Doromons and defeat the evil general, who is also bold.
Okay.
So not exactly an imaginative sequel, but I'm still happy to try a new version of a beloved childhood game out.
Sure.
So yeah, that's what I've been talking about.
Okay. Well, would you like to find a good clip on YouTube and stream us a couple of minutes of this so we can see what it's all about?
Which one? The first one or the second one?
Take your pick. You're the boss.
Yeah, just give you the first one.
Okay.
That's relatively easy.
I thought that'd be a fun way of doing things.
I can actually do both. There's no harm.
Yeah, go on. I think while you're loading that up, I was asked what my favourite video game was today, and I don't know. I've got an all-time top 10, but I don't know what it. About narrowing it down to one. I mean, let me see off the top of my head. On the original Game Boy was Batman. Nemesis on that Game Boy was also really good. I may have included that. I'm not sure. I played that quite recently. Actually, on the same format. Still got batteries in my little grey box there. Then on the Mega Drive, I went with Streets of Rage 2 and Thunder Force 4. And then on the N64, I went with Madden 64 because I just ploughed so many hours into that game. And I went with GoldenEye, a remarkable game, unbelievable. Popular and rightly so for good reasons. It's great. On the GameCube, I think I went with let's see. On the GameCube, I went with it was F-Zero GX, I think, and Metroid Prime. Those 2 incredible games. I think I'm up to 8 now. And then on the Wii, I went with Battalion Wars 2. Because Battalion Wars 1 on the GameCube and Battalion Wars 2 on the Wii were both wonderful, supreme games. That puts me up to 9. If there was a 10th, I think it was TIE Fighter on the... That feels like 10. Was TIE
Can you
Fighter.
see this? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Got this portal like Stargate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I think I said all 10. But now
GameCube would probably be Time Splitters 2 for me.
I did play that. I had that once, and I played it through. I enjoyed that. I think I played Time Splitters Future Perfect though as well. I don't really remember. It was a long time ago. I sold that. I got a great deal on them. They what was Electronics Boutique were doing a deal where you could take in any 4 games and trade them for any brand new game. And I just got a load of crappy sports titles that I picked up for a few quid each. And they accepted the trade-in for 40 quid brand new Time Splitters Future Perfect. I think it was. And yeah, really enjoyed that. That was a fun game. I sold it eventually. Yeah, great fun. Sold it in what way now on eBay when I was just saying to myself, you can't keep everything.
You should be able to keep everything in a perfect world.
Yeah. I think I once said to myself that I was going to keep every GameCube game ever bought, and I was never going to sell them. But I had so many, and loads of them were a pile of shit. So that was a sensible thing to do, to get rid of them. Yeah. I think my I don't hardly have any time for gaming now. I'll fire up my Neo Geo Mini and blast a few soldiers in Metal Slug 2 or Metal Slug X or Shock Troopers or something like that. But I don't play. Lockdown had a bit of a gaming revival, and I loved my Neo Geo Mini. And that was. Do you remember? Do you know the Neo Geo, Richard? Have I talked to you about that ever?
The Neo Geo, the first one.
Yeah, the original Neo Geo console from the 1990s. You know about that?
Yeah.
Great. Well, it was this like rare and chic console. Games were arcade perfect, but cost £100 or more. I didn't know anyone who had them. Obviously days before the internet, this mysterious machine and its games were advertised in and reviewed in multi-format magazines. And but yeah, we just read these reviews and sort of wonder about this thing. And then but I found during lockdown that SNK, the people who made it, they had issued a device called the Neo Geo Mini. It was just like you've got the Sega and Nintendo both did it with the Mega Drive and the SNES. It's just a way of playing the game that is really fun, and there's a way of playing the game now with 40 inbuilt games that would have cost you £5,000, probably about £5,000 in the mid-90s, got for 90 odd quid now. A couple of control pads, plugs into the TV, and you're away. It was so much fun, and I really enjoyed it. Some of those games were not great, but some of them were brilliant. There was about 10 games I played loads during lockdown. It was a lovely old school shoot 'em up called Last Resort. Really, really tough, really well made. And unlike the original Neo Geo, this Mini, this device that I've got, mercifully came with an in-game save feature. You could pause it and save it at any point for any game, and then load that up later on. And there's no way I would have got anywhere with these games without that. They are so hard and so difficult, and incredible.
Yeah, they remade Master Ghouls and Goblins recently, and they made it harder. And I was like, how could you make that game even harder, you sadistic monsters?
Well, I had that on the Mega Drive, and I have legitimately played that through to completion. I've done that several times. I've genuinely played through that entire game. Ghouls and Ghosts, it was on the Mega Drive version. And was it Capcom? It feels like it was a Capcom game.
Yeah, they're really good at that kind of level of brutality. This is a sequel anyway. You can see it's a lot better looking.
Yeah. I think I've got Ghoul. Yeah, there it is. I've got my copy of Ghouls and Ghosts up there. Not quite sure where and when I picked it up, but I did.
Nah, not Ghouls and Ghosts, man. Ghouls and Goblins.
How different were they?
Night and day. Like, Ghosts and Goblins is considered to be one of the hardest games ever made.
I thought that was just the name of the arcade version, or the name that was given to on a different format. I mean, are they completely different games?
I think so. I'll just Google it. Ghouls and Goblins.
I'm not sure at this point.
Ghosts and Goblins. Yeah, Ghosts and Goblins.
I knew it was Ghouls and Ghosts on the Mega Drive, Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the SNES. I'm not sure how identical those games were. They were probably basically the same game.
I mean, it depends, because the Mega Drive version of Aladdin was way different than the Super Nintendo version.
Mega Drive version of that game was great. I remember it.
I preferred the SNES version because it was more challenging.
No, I don't know it. No, I don't know. I think I can definitely tell you the hardest game I have ever played. Easily, without a shadow of a doubt. It's a shoot 'em up on the GameCube called Ikaruga. Ikaruga. It is really that game. It's okay. I'm going to just try and describe it quickly, and then hopefully we'll be able to have a quick look at that, because it is a work of art in video game form. It is otherworldly how good this game looks and just how tough it is. Okay, you're a standard vertically scrolling shoot 'em up, except all the bullets are either black or white that they shoot at you. Your ship can change between being black and white, and all the aliens are black and white, and all these enemy ships. You you can change your ship, and as you change your ship to black or white, the same color bullets give you power ups. The opposite colors kill you. So if you've got a load of black bullets coming towards you, you flip the button to become black, and you absorb them all, and you're fine. If a load of white ones come up, you quickly flip, become white, absorb them, and you're fine. But different colors are coming at you in different waves and different patterns all the time, while you're having to negotiate, shooting these ships down and changing color all the time. And not only that, to play the game properly, you have to shoot your enemies in multiples of 3. By color: 3 white, 3 black, 3 black, 3 white, 3 white, 3 black, 3 black, 3 black, 3 white, 3 black, 3 white. 3
oh,
black.
It's a bullet hell. Right,
it is a proper bullet hell game. If I ping you a good example of this game, Richard, would you be prepared to?
Hold on, I'm ahead of you.
Well, you need a good. There's 5 levels. Try level 4. Try Ikaruga stage 4, and the first one on YouTube will be what you want. Oh, that's the end of level. That's the boss at the end of level 1. So you can see you're white at the moment, and so you want to be the white bullets. And then when it shoots black, he'll there you turn black. But he's got these white bullets to dodge.
Oh God! Look at
now
that.
This is
that precision.
This is an easy part of the game. This is nothing compared to what's ahead. Honestly, trust me. Look up level 4 in a different window or something. So here you have to keep chopping and changing, but this is still level 1. This is easy by comparison.
Yeah, they don't make bullet hells anymore, really.
Almost got this thing. There it goes. And trust me, look up level 4. It's a whole new thing, or stage 4 Ikaruga, and you'll see. So it goes to a whole new level, and it is really entertaining. It's incredible. I mean, this is designed for, like, it looks like artificial intelligence is doing this, not a human being. However, these were made before AI was a thing, when it was still in the worlds of Skynet and Cyberdyne systems.
Does AI scare you?
To an extent. So you see, it's the three white, then 3 black, then all load of blacks, load of whites. There's these 3 little lights on the top left of the screen that show you where you're doing with your hitting them in 3s. Right, now let's check this delightful Ferris wheel thing out. There we go. So this player is doing this: 3 white, 3 white, 3 black, 3 black, 3 black, 3 black, 3 black, 3 white, and so on and so on and so on. And obviously they do it without losing a life. It's just madness. I mean, look at this.
Bloody hell! I could not play this game. I'd just get overwhelmed.
This is the hardest game I've ever played.
Hardest game I ever played was probably Dark Souls 3. Or maybe Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. That one was pretty hard. Just because you got to master parrying in that game, and that's just something I ignored.
Okay.
See, this is giving me epilepsy watching this.
Yeah, you see what I mean? It's incredibly well crafted and created, but my God, is it hard? And that's just trying to stay alive. Never mind trying to do the chain of the. That's what it's called. It's called your chain of how many multiples of 3 you get, and it's just bonkers. Beautiful, but bonkers. Oh, so I've got if I go offline, it's because my needy cat has bloody walked over the keyboard again, the way she's so inclined to do, aren't you, Missy? Yeah. Oh, so
feels like a natural stopping point. That being said,
yeah, go for it, man. We'll make it a short show tonight. We're both pretty busy.
All right, well, that'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. It's good night from him, and it's good night from me.
Cheers,
good night, everyone.
It's been a blast. Thanks, guys.